College admissions scheme focuses spotlight on university athletics. Eric Hyman said he was stunned to learn of the in more than 30, but that is the reality of it that helped children of wealthy parents enter numerous elite educational institutions, like Yale University, Stanford University, and the University of Southern California. Students' parents, in some cases, the student didn't even play the sport that earned them entrance to the university. Recruiting. The scandal reared its head again on Sunday when it was announced that Gordon Ernst, the former Georgetown University tennis coach accused of taking $2.7 million in the scheme, resigned his post at the University of Rhode Island, where he worked at the time of his arrest. The cooperation agreement between former Yale soccer coach Rudolph "Rudy" Meredith and the Justice Department was also unsealed Sunday. Meredith is charged. It is the coaches, Hyman said, who tend to make those calls on the sports side, typically providing lists to the academic institution of players who they want to join their team. But that ability of the entire plan was orchestrated by William Rick Singer, who runs the college counseling Business Edge College and Career Network. In one of the more the ability for that fraud to flow through sports programs has left some asking where does the buck stop, and ultimately how much oversight should the administration and the leadership of athletic departments exercise over individual teams? 1. And many more athletic departments could be susceptible to this kind of fraud, Shropshire said, as long as coaches have the power to provide a list of students that they want admitted to the institution without anyone second-guessing their choices. But some noted that major academic institutions cannot micromanage their massive athletic departments. But Ross said that colleges and universities face a larger cultural problem, as it has become acceptable to admit athletically unexceptional students for sports that produce little revenue for the university. There is nothing scandalous about the practice because it has been going on for years, he said, but it is curious that a student would be admitted to an institution like Yale because the applicant might be pretty. Only the individuals who were immediately involved have been charged or fired from the numerous academic institutions that were defrauded in the scheme, but it remains to be seen whether there will be additional fallout. Shropshire said the rapid number of dismissals that occurred in light of the indictment made it appear as though some schools had information available to them before the criminal charges were announced. That could indicate that But for Hyman, a former Division I athletic director who has seen the highest echelons of college sports, there is a larger concern: the vast sums of money involved and the lack of oversight. Money.
Raindrop, drop top smoking, no cooking the hot pot. Fucking on your bitch, yeah, that. Looking up, open the park pot.